recording. This is episode 17 of Peaked in College. Craig, did you think we would make it this far? Be honest with me.
No, I thought we'd make it to 10.
You thought we would not make it past 10 episodes of Peaked in College?
No, I thought we'd make it. I thought we'd make it. I thought we'd actually get here a little quicker, but that's my fault. So
Yeah, I think we've been doing this for a year and a half at least.
yeah.
So when you put it that way, 17 episodes is pretty not very impressive.
Yeah.
But I think we can pick up the pace and get things going. First, before I introduce our special guest of the day, I wanted to show something that connects us to the last episode with Jake Horseman or Horse. Check it out.
Shout out Horse and his girlfriend.
Shout out Horse and his girlfriend for the Peaked in College merchandise. We'll see if we can touch base with him and get him to be a partner to start making merchandise, and we'll sell it. We'll get an online website. Our guest here today has already volunteered to run the website, so thank you. And without further ado, today we have a very special guest. It's my brother, Matt Wood. So, Matt, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, long-time listener. Been trying to get on the show for a while, but so glad we found some time. Excited.
Yeah, he has been asking me for a while, so I apologize. I think I'll blame Craig for the most part. Yeah. He said, no, we're not bringing family into this. This is a friend deal. We're not going to get family involved. So I was like, Craig, just hear me out. Let's just give him a chance. And he finally let him on. So we're happy to have you.
The only reason I agreed to it was because I need to hear some funny David stories about when he was a kid. Do you have any good ones?
I don't think he has. No.
Yeah, let me think about it. Maybe I'll add a few towards the end of the show here. I did not plan for that.
We can always have you back on too.
So, Craig, it's been obviously a month and a half since the last episode. Everyone can see that it's time-stamped on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts. So basically, one of the main reasons because you've had a lot of life changes. So why don't you now tell the audience, what's been going on? Why haven't they been able to listen to some Peaked in College? What's been going on with you?
Yeah, so it's football season's coming up, so I've been doing a lot of fantasy football drafts. So that's been eating away at a lot of my time. But I guess the main life update, I started a new job. So that was hectic and wrapping up my old job, trying to finish all my projects. And then starting up, I was in Virginia meeting the team last week and, doing all that onboarding stuff and figuring out what the next step looks like takes a lot of time. And I was doing a lot of interviews and stuff like that. So that consumed a lot of time, but I'm back now. And yeah, I'm excited with my new job. I'm doing dental insurance out in Virginia. So
yeah. So why don't you tell people what it's like to get fired for sexual harassment?
That is completely fake news. I was not fired. I put in my 2 weeks, but I gave him 4 weeks. So it was a very, I think I left on good terms.
Oh, it was a respectful quit. That's good.
Yeah. I tried to make it respectful.
You allow them time to fill their spot.
Yeah.
2 weeks, putting in the whole 2 weeks thing, how that's kind of just like a rule of thumb. I feel like 2 weeks is pretty quick to give someone notice and quit,
Like 4 weeks was quick. Like I was wrapping stuff up and saying goodbyes. Like that stuff takes time.
Did you cry when you said goodbyes?
No. But I did feel emotional. I really did. It was weird.
I said
did you cry when you left?
After I finished my residency, on my last day, I went around and said goodbye to all the pharmacists, and it got me. You get that swollen feeling in your throat. When you're you're not gonna cry, but you're getting there. That's kind of what I had. Yeah,
that's a better way of putting it. But the other thing too is I wasn't in person, so it's a little different. Your last days from home. I did go in the day before for a team happy hour, but my actual last day when emotions are running the highest. I was just at home, so.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you handled it well. Excuse me. You always give me a lot of shit for not smiling or laughing, but you now have met Matt Wood, who smiles and laughs much less than I do. So Matt is a man of few words. I was surprised when he said he wanted to come on the podcast, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to offer. Matt, how many times would you say that you've cried in your life?
Actually, cried?
Yeah. How many times have you cried?
Over what? I don't know. I mean,
I feel like you could count it
not a lot
on.
of emotion. Those of you that know D-Wood knows we're very, very similar in some ways now that we're kind of older, but D-Wood's definitely a lot more touchy-feely. Like, I would have no problem leaving a new job. I'm sure D-Wood was crying to his 60-year-old pharmacist, Karen buddy, about who makes him dinner. Me, don't really care kind of on the next step, but so a lot different there. Surprisingly, you think D-Wood has a lot of grinds my gears. I've got a couple grinds my gears too. So
Yes, let's go.
but yeah, I don't think I like keeping a neutral, not too high, not too low.
I like that. I've always respected about you that you can keep such a level head. I think I've tried to learn that from you, is trying to just whatever life throws at you, just not letting it rattle you too much. I feel like when I was growing up, at least, I would cry at everything. I'd cry every time I struck out. I'd cry every time he gave me a purple nurple. Whatever it might have been. It just life is full of emotional things, and Matt has taught me that you can't just let it get to you. You can't let everything get to you, because it's going to break you down. You got to be tougher than that.
One thing I got to say, D Wood, first of all, I like that. Is that what you call him? But he's got a way more impressive beard than you could ever grow. What's up with that?
I know. I don't know if that's like the beard oil, or it's like some sort of supplement he's taking. I don't know. I got to get on that, whatever it is, because at I guess that's a good segue into what I was going to say next, is that Matt recently got married. But at his wedding, all my aunts and uncles would come up to me and say, how does Matt get that beard? Because, you and your dad certainly cannot get that beard. And I was like, well, thank you for the reminder. I don't really know what he does, what kind of illegal supplements he's taking to get that beard and growing in there. But, it is impressive. I'll give you that.
Yeah, congrats, man. That's awesome. Was it a fun wedding? Did you have a good time?
Oh yeah, good time. Remained not too high, not too low. It was good times. D-Wood had a good speech, being best man. Yeah, it was good. Already went on the honeymoon. It was awesome, perfect. Funny honeymoon in Mexico. We were in the Brittany planned everything. I couldn't even tell you what flight we were on, where we were going, any single thing. She had my passport, like the plane ticket, everything.
Not surprised.
I was just following her along, grabbing her suitcase and stuff, being a gentleman.
Yep.
Funny about the trip was, on the way from the airport to the resort, it was like 30-40 minutes. Those drivers in Mexico. There was construction on the way back, like to the airport. So 40 minutes from airport to resort. I pissed at the resort. It was 2.5 hours sitting in Mexico traffic. I had to get out of the van. We were in like a van with like 6 people. I had to be like, dude, I gotta piss. I can't hold it anymore. And I got out in traffic in Mexico on the side of the highway. I ran up like 50 yards so that I could like meet him when I'm done pissing, because I had to go for like a minute, like, 'cause I was holding it that long. And then and all the freaking vans look the same. I almost like didn't get picked up, but yeah, I had to pee on the side of the Mexico highway because we were in the van for 2.5 hours. And
You
what do
can't
do
hold a
when you have
piss
to
for
pee?
two and a
Like,
half
there's
hours.
nothing you can do.
You said you emptied the tank at
It
the
was
resort.
funny. Well, yeah, but like when you're drinking all week and stuff, your bladder is just so short and it takes a while to get back. It was funny though, when I got back in the van, Brittany's like laughed at. We were like, most of the people in the van and the dude driving, very little English, and we were we were in the back of the van, and I like ran up to the front. And as I'm like opening the door already, I'm like, "You mind if I take a leak?" And like, take a leak, they didn't really know what that meant, like pee, whatever,
Yeah, that's not like.
bathroom. They had no idea. She's like, they like turned around in the van, was like, "Take a leak? What is he doing?"
Yeah, sometimes
But
the
yeah, that was
English
the only
slang.
like hiccup, but otherwise it was all good.
Sometimes the
That's
English
funny.
slang doesn't translate over well. But I'm glad they waited for you and you weren't stuck in Mexico. That would be rough.
Yeah, he could have probably ended up like with the cartel on the side of the highway, just get snatched.
I feel like he would have fit in with the cartel.
Yeah.
He would have been one of those guys that actually blends into the cartel instead of just gets murdered right away.
He
Except you don't know.
works his way up.
Yeah, except you don't know a lick of Spanish, so I don't know how well that would go actually. Did you find it difficult to survive down there without any Spanish knowledge, or does everybody at the resort just speak English and it's fine?
Oh, it was all English, yeah. It's like you don't know if like it's disrespectful to say like gracias and like the little Spanish, that the 4 words that you do know. I never know if it's like disrespectful to like say gracias. And then a couple times I think I did, and then they're like, "Oh, speak Spanish," like thinking if they could talk Spanish to me. I'm like, no. So like then I just wrapped up saying gracias, like thank you, all English.
Yeah. That's funny.
I don't know what that is, but I would agree with you that it does feel disrespectful, like when you like sprinkle in the Spanish. Like when you're at like a Mexican restaurant or something and they bring you your food, you just want to say like thank you, but you also want to like try to speak their language and make them feel more comfortable rather than like, I don't know, just yeah, I won't go down that path. But anyways, like when you say it, it just feels like they're just like, okay. And you see like the white family sitting next to you, grassy ass, por favor, por favor. Shout out Professor Masar. She listens to this podcast, and she taught me most of the Spanish that I know. So I appreciate your support, your love and support. You've been a wonderful professor and a wonderful friend. So I'm sorry that it took this long to give you a shout out, but this was a good way for it to come up. Maybe I need to talk to her about that, finding the good balance of speaking and being respectful while not insulting. Because I do know a little bit of Spanish. I need to use it a little bit more. Maybe I need to go to Mexico, go on some trips and use it more, because I tell you what, here in Nebraska and in Iowa, you're not going to get much use out of it. But yeah, I mean,
we could do a Spanish episode.
It's a good skill to have. Yeah, we could try. Do you know much Spanish? Oh yeah, you went to Spain.
Un poquito. Yeah, my mom's a Spanish teacher too. Shout out my mom.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Definitely rusty, but at one time I felt pretty good about it. But
I'm surprised that you're not fluent if your mom's a Spanish teacher. It's almost disrespectful for you because you don't respect your brother's profession.
No, but that's her profession. We didn't grow up every day speaking Spanish.
Well, why not? I would be like, Mom, that's a really cool skill. Could you teach me? Like, I should learn because that's the way the world is going. But you were like, Mom, I don't want to learn Spanish. Like, I speak English. It's perfectly fine how it is.
When you're 8 years old, you want to rebel against your parents. I was like, no, I don't ever want to take Spanish. That was my thought process.
She doesn't teach Spanish anymore?
No, she still does. She for a couple more years. But yeah, like when I was a kid, like I feel like it's normal for kids not to want to do what their parents want them to do. And they didn't really push it hard on us. Like they were never like, oh, you need to, do Spanish in 5th grade. Like we just took it when we could in high school.
Fair enough. Speaking of rebelling against your parents, my brother here, him and my father have a really interesting relationship. I would say that they love each other, but they also butt heads because I think it's because they're very similar to each other. Matt would probably disagree. My dad would probably disagree, but it is a clash of the titans every time one of those guys gets pissed. So we won't get into that because I think my dad listens. I don't know if mom and dad have listened to the last episode with Horse. I don't know. Maybe they just stopped being interested in Peakton College, but we'll see what happens.
That's funny. Yeah, I guess I can totally see that. Matt and Tom. Makes sense.
Have you ever met Tom yet?
I have not.
He said he wants to come on the show. I don't know, Matt. I don't know what you think about letting Tommy Wood come on. I don't know how well that would go.
I'd be for it. I think that'd be awesome. T Wood.
I would like to hear it if he's going to come on and be honest. I don't know, when I was in college and he always yelled at me for everything I did and acted like I was doing these crazy things that he's never done or whatever. And then I talked to Tim, his brother, and hear a couple stories that don't align what he's told me and said. So I guess in that way we're not so different. But so if he's going to come on here and admit some of those stories, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, I think he would have some good stories to tell. I think he probably did peak in college as well. That's one question that we're striving to ask every guest that comes on the show. Matt, would you say that you peaked in college?
Oh, absolutely not. And reason one, you brought up the beard. I mean, I was
Yeah, but
ugly and fat in college.
you had cool flow.
No, I didn't. I tried to, like, look like Bradley Cooper, all those, like, Brad Pitt, all those stars with, like, long hair. And then I got long hair and I realized I'm just fat and ugly and, like, I don't have their face. So, like, I thought I'd look like them with their hair and it just didn't work. So, absolutely did not peak in college. I have a couple of different reasons for that. But did you guys peak in college?
I think we definitely peaked in college, which is what the podcast name came from. But here's what I've evolved as you know the episode and has the podcast has come along is that you can peak many times. You can peak multiple times. If you look at a mountain, it doesn't have just one tippy top peak. It has many peaks. So I think one of my peaks was definitely college. What would you say, Craig?
Yeah, I definitely think a peak in college.
Like I would say, I
Yeah,
definitely did
those were
not.
the glory days.
I definitely did not peak in high school. Like I was a loser in high school. Like I had cool friends, but I was bad at every sport I tried. All that stuff. But when I got to college, things started clicking a little bit. So. Um, Yeah, I would say I had a little mini peak in college, but I feel like Matt, you had some good moments in college. Do you have any good moments or stories that you wanted to tell the listeners?
I did JV sports sophomore year of high school.
What? What about JV sports? Matthew, are you still with us? Can you hear
We
me?
might have lost him.
Might have lost him. I think he's got bad Wi-Fi. I think Brittany's got to up the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I have a couple, but before I get into that, I just said like sophomore year of high school, one of your peak. You're a pretty good JV star.
Yeah, yeah, I will say I was pretty good on JV. And being on JV as a sophomore is nothing to be ashamed of. That's a normal athlete progression. I happened to be on JV as a junior as
Well,
well, football, but we don't have to talk about that. I had a good sophomore year. That's on the move.
Was that in football?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Matt? Were you a good athlete? Were you a JV star?
Let's just say that Tom Wood did not pass on very athletic genes. Because Matt and I both, had our struggles, and we also were short. Like if you know us, for those of you listening or watching that know us in person, both Matt and I are pretty short, and we're taller than our dad. So like,
Oh wow.
he did not help us with the height genes. When I met you, Craig, freshman year, you were like a monster. How tall you were? Like I don't see people as tall as you. So, um, we were not blessed with very athletic genes or athletic size. Um, even though I think our dad was a decent athlete. I mean, so I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, that's always interesting. What
Uh,
sports did your dad play?
uh, Football. He played Division III football until he blew both his knees out, which I think apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I ended up blowing my knee out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, football is the big one. I think. I think he played all the other ones. He was a big wrestler too. I think Matt tried wrestling for a year. Once we get Matt back, maybe he could tell a little wrestling story. But
Yeah.
um, that was I think when my dad was more proud of my brother. When he tried wrestling because I never did wrestling. I was just not a big guy like trying to get in that singlet. It just was not my thing. So I just said no thanks on that one. But
Yeah.
Matt gave it a shot. Matt was a big power lifter too in high school. He had a lot of records in the wall of how much weight he could throw around.
Oh, interesting.
Are you back with us, Matt? Can you hear us?
yeah, I just hopefully we're good. I just switched Wi-Fi, whatever. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
sounds a little better at least.
Yeah.
So Craig was asking, what kind of sports you played in high school. What were your glory days? What were you good at? I told a little story about how you tried wrestling. You're pretty good. You're a good power lifter. What else you got to offer?
Oh no, I think wrestling was one of those things that I resented Dad for making me do.
He made you do it?
Because yeah,
Do you have
think so.
cauliflower ear?
I don't know. I don't. No, I did it for 1 year, and
I don't know.
I went like 1-35 maybe. I wrestled varsity my first year ever trying it, and I just lost every single match in like 10 seconds. It was the worst year of my life.
Yeah, that's pretty demoralizing because wrestling, like you think like you could just go in with brute strength and you were a strong kid, you know, in high school. You thought that you could just go in there and just wrestle somebody around, you know, like you're wrestling me. But they have like all these moves. They've all been wrestling since they were little kids. So, you know, it's a lot harder than it seems.
Wrestlers are a different breed for sure.
Craig, I'm surprised you and I didn't fight at all in college, whether it was a fist fight or just wrestling, you know. The only people
Yeah.
the only people I ever wrestled in college was my two roommates, Nate and Johnny Mills. Those guys, we would just piss each other off to the nth degree, and finally, just we would snap and just wrestle it out, just duke it out.
Who won? Johnny?
Johnny was a good, yeah. Johnny was probably the strongest out of us three, but you know, Nate, we always would pin Nate. You know, we'd get him in a headlock or
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that was
we should do some Oklahoma drill or something.
yeah, yeah. That sounds like good. Maybe at Nate's wedding, we'll do some Oklahoma drill.
Yeah. I love it.
I think that's the one thing I hate about football is just contact. You know, we did some of those drills obviously in football, and I just hated getting hit, dude. It hurts so bad. Even when I would hit people, like it hurt me to hit people. So I was just like, this sucks, dude. So that's why I ended up being a star in flag football, I think, because it's no physical contact.
Yeah, no, that was the same. Getting hit sucked, and I had a bad concussion too in 8th grade, and that's why I stopped playing football. But I feel like that's one reason why like I was fast was because I didn't want to get hit, so it gave me a little extra boost to run away from people.
Dude, I remember like I don't mean to talk about these old stories, but I remember I was on special teams for varsity because my dad's like really good friend was the special teams coordinator, so he just put me on special teams. And the very first kickoff of the year, Craig, I was like strapped up. I was jacked. I was ready to go. Everybody was all jacked up. I sprinted down and I hit the first guy I saw, and it rang my bell so bad, like in my head, that I was just like, all right, that's it for me. I'm good on hitting people for the rest of the year. Like it was just, it's not enjoyable. I think maybe just, I don't know. It takes a special breed to deliver that kind of hit to people.
The people that loved those contact drills were psychos.
Yeah. Basically, anybody that likes to hit people in football is kind of a psycho if you think about it. But the human body craves contact. That's what the people are saying.
Mine doesn't. I'll tell you that.
You know, I want to keep this show lighthearted, but Matt actually had I think, if I'm remembering correctly, one of Matt's good friends in high school football, they like collided pretty bad. And his buddy was like brought out on a stretcher and you know, it was a pretty intense moment. It was like raining that day. So it was just like it was a scene out of a movie, really. Matt, do you care to comment?
I don't recall. What are you talking about?
I thought the Quisto got a real bad concussion or neck injury or something.
Oh yeah. He had one of those where like your arms go up like that, and you're just floating there.
That's scary. That's really scary.
That's really scary. Yeah.
Like, how does that make you want to like go back out there and hit somebody? You know, I would be like, I'm good.
I'm out. Yeah.
That's why I like being a quarterback. You know, throwing on the red practice jersey and hands off, baby, hands off. Speaking of football season's right around the corner. I don't know if you guys watched that game in Ireland, Nebraska versus Northwestern. I'm here living in Nebraska now, so I'm kind of an impromptu Husker fan, and that was a disappointing first game as a Husker fan, as a Nebraska native. So I don't know. Did you guys watch any of that, or are you looking forward to football season?
I did not watch. I haven't watched any preseason football or anything. I've been just like keeping up with the news though. But yeah, I'm pumped for it. I'm excited. I definitely love that first weekend of just like cracking a cold beer, you know, and watching a bunch of games, having a couple TVs up. It's awesome.
For sure.
But yeah, thinking of you out in Nebraska, I'm sure Cornhuskers, they love their football. So if it's a bad year for them, that makes it a lot less fun to be in the city.
Yeah, it's been a bad year for them for the past like 20 years too, which is not a good thing. So, you know, the vibes were pretty low yesterday around here, so I'm hoping that things start looking up. But, you know, growing up, I was a Northwestern fan, Matt and my grandparents, so my dad's parents, they had season tickets to the Northwestern games, so we used to go to a couple games, growing up. So you'd root for them, and the whole my dad's side all roots for them. So, it was my heart deep down was rooting for the Cats, so it was good to see.
It's cool. I didn't know that.
Are you a big Gopher guy?
I'd say not really because they haven't been good. Like they had a couple fun basketball seasons back when like Tubby Smith was coaching. And like I was pretty into like, for basketball I was pretty into it, but then like they were just bad or they've been bad. And kind of like the same for football. Like when they're good, I watch them, but I definitely like the Vikings more. Um, I'm family friends with one of the guys who used to kick for the Gophers a couple of years ago. So that was really cool to like watch him and stuff. And they had a couple good seasons, but because I didn't go there, like I don't feel the same connection, So if they're like not very good, I'm just not. I'm a fake fan. So
Oh, but you feel connected to the Minnesota Vikings because you went there and you played there. Is that right?
Yeah. No. But I grew up when I was 5. Like I watched every Vikings game. Like that was just more built into what I did, my routine, and my family tradition.
Matt, how are you feeling about the Chicago Bears this year?
Fields looked good yesterday, but not good at all. He doesn't have weapons. He doesn't have protection. I don't like our D-line. Roquan Smith, what's going on there? That's lost. Like our next Briggs or Urlacher, and we're let it go away because he doesn't have an agent. Like figure it out. Like that's what we need for the defense. So not good at all. I was hoping Rodgers would pull something and leave Green Bay, but nope. So we have to deal with that for another 2 years. It's just not fun. But we'll see. Every year, 0-0, it's first game. I always feel like, well, last year, I mean, Fields, but I just feel like he doesn't have enough around him. There's so much talent out there now. Like, you look at the top half of the NFL, and it's nuts, like, the talent that they have. I mean, it's like the NBA now. It's like every team's an all-star team.
Yeah.
And the Bears aren't at all, so we'll see.
I agree. I think the Bears are behind the times. They think that they can get this defensive mindset to win in the NFL these days. And number one, our defense isn't very good anymore. Number two, in the NFL today, you got to have the offense, and the Bears absolutely do not have the offense. But I am glad that they got rid of Matt Nagy. I'm looking forward to seeing a full season of Justin Fields with an off season. When he was drafted, he was destined to be the backup to Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle. So now that he is the starter, the guy, I feel at least optimistic about going into the season. Like looking forward to watching him. That's kind of one thing I picked up on last year is even the Bears games that I knew they were going to get their ass kicked. I was looking forward to watching Justin Fields. You know how good of a feeling it is to like have a quarterback finally that is like exciting to watch. And as a Bears fan, we have not had that since slinging Jay Cutler. It's been a few years since Jay Cutler's played.
Yeah, but even then we had Marshall, Jeffrey, right?
I know that's what I'm saying. That was a good era in Chicago Bears football. And then since then, we've had just like, you've seen it. You've seen the graphics. Every time the Bears play in primetime, they put the graphics of how we have no athletes and we haven't had a good, stable starting quarterback. So it's just depressing. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing Fields blossom. It might not be this year, but I think it will be eventually. I'm hoping that it's in the Chicago Bears uniform.
Your windows are so tight now with like when you have to win, and because quarterbacks get like if he does pan out, like if he's really good, he's going to get paid a ton of money. So it's like your window is like while he's still on that rookie deal or like maybe like first year of that extension.
Yeah.
There's just no room for error.
How do you feel going into the season having Kirk Cousins as your quarterback once again? I mean, you guys have some good weapons at least like around you. You got things to be excited about, but always knowing in the back of your head that you have Kirk Cousins, does that like just make you a little bit depressed, a little bit nervous?
No, I think the whole dialogue around Kirk Cousins is frustrating because like I think like he's in that like maybe top 10 to 15 tier of quarterbacks where like he's good, like he's a better quarterback back than most teams, but I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with them. So like, if our goal is to make the playoffs every year, I think he can do that most years. But it's like it's not Super Bowl or bust. And I think that's a like as a fan for the Vikings, I'd much rather the Vikings kind of go all in into a window and really go for it. But that's not going to happen. And I don't know. It's like you said, you start every season 0-0 and like they have a new head coach. So like I'm excited to see what he looks like. And he may totally suck and we might have to blow it up again in 3 years. But like there's a chance that he's really good. Maybe he unlocks Cousins. I don't think it's going to happen. But I don't know. There's a lot to learn, a lot to figure out what's going on.
Don't you think though? Like I agree that Kirk Cousins is pretty decent. Like he's a decent quarterback. But don't you like you just said unlock Kirk Cousins? You think there's a Kirk Cousins to be unlocked? Like I feel like we've seen what we've seen out of Kirk Cousins. I don't know if there's much more to offer.
That's fine. But I think even more like, and I was like overall a fan of Zimmer, but like I think you could look back at the Vikings offense the past 5 years when you have Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and your offense isn't that explosive. Like they weren't run like they run the ball too much on first down. Like they don't run like a data driven offense. And so, that they have all these weapons. Like I think they can be a lot more creative. Like I don't think anyone has ever looked at the Vikings offense under Zimmer and been like, wow, that was a really creative play. That they're not innovative. So like, again, I agree. I think we know what Kirk Cousins is, but if we can get the ball to Jefferson in better situations, maybe we don't need him unlocked. So all that to say, I'm predicting like 9-8.
We'll see. It's always hard to tell. I think we're both sick and tired of seeing the Packers win, and seeing Aaron Rodgers. So I'm hoping that he gets out of here soon. Maybe, he'll get arrested for some of the stuff, all these substances he's trying. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But just here's to hoping that the Packers suck this year. Any other comments on football, or do you want to segue into would you rather's?
I think that's good. We haven't started the season yet, so we'll dive more in when it actually starts.
Actually, what I want to do first is grinds my gears. For the last couple of episodes, I don't know if I've just been in a better mood or what the deal is, but I've really blown past the grinds my gears. I did it to Horse, I did it to Matt. So hopefully, Matt, you brought some grinds my gears. It's up to you if you want to go first, or do you want one of us to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, my grinds my gears. Number one, we touched on a little earlier, but my brother got married. I was the best man. My grinds my gears of today is Men's Warehouse. I have a bone to pick with Men's Warehouse. You should have seen these pants, Craig, that Men's Warehouse gave me. I'm trying to see if I have some sort of picture to pull up and show everybody that's watching on the show. But dude, I mean, they had me fitted. You go into Men's Warehouse. First of all, let's just rewind in the sequence of how Men's Warehouse goes. You go in there, it's some kid, or some worker that's already stressed and pissed off for the day. They grab their little tape measure, like they're out of the sewing kit. They grab you, they tell you to stand on a little platform. They wrap it around your waist. They wrap it up, to your height, to the top of your head. They wrap it across your wingspan, and they say, all right, go have a good day. And I'm like, I already know that this is not going to work and this is not going to fit. Then they have you pick up the suit like one day before the wedding. So I'm already thinking, well, this is not going to be good. This is a recipe for disaster. I'm driving home to Wisconsin. I'm going to try this suit on. It's definitely not going to fit. And then I'm going to be in a bind, not be able to get the things that I need for this wedding that I happen to be the best man in. So it's important how I look. I don't want to make the pictures look crappy because my outfit doesn't fit. Well, sure enough, Craig, these pants that I tried on were like, 10 sizes too big. It was like if you closed your eyes at a Goodwill and picked a suit off the rack and had to wear that to your brother's wedding. That's what it was like for me. So here's a little zoomed in picture of my brother and I walking. These pants, they definitely did not check the box of slim fit when they selected the pants. Let's see if you can see. Look at these pants, Craig.
Oh my gosh.
Matt, can you see those pants? Look at that. My brother is on...
it's like clown pants.
My brother's on the other side, obviously. His pants look very nice. He looks like straight out of a catalog. Then you got my pants that just absolutely did not fit. So I actually got an email, Men's Warehouse said, give us a review, tell us how you did. So I filled out the survey, Greg. And I said, I said what I said. I said what I just said on this episode. I said, this is crap. The fit of the pants were way off, not even close. You guys rush through these measurements. You don't listen to what I ask for. Next thing you know, I look like an idiot in front of my entire extended family. So thanks a lot, Men's Warehouse. We're certainly not going to be sponsored by them, and I'm okay with that. I'm taking my services elsewhere when I get married.
feel that. That's it's not fun looking like a goofball in front of everyone.
Yeah, see, that's how you would describe it, goofball. Dude, my cousins were laughing hysterically the entire time we took pictures, the entire wedding. Every time they looked at me, they would just laugh and laugh and laugh. So that was a really, really tough pill to swallow.
Matt probably paid them extra to do this. He's like,
He
hey,
probably,
like if I slip you an
yeah.
extra 100, can you make my brother look like a dumbass?
I started thinking about it, and now my cousins and my brother and I have a group chat on Snapchat that my cousin renamed Dave Woods Used Car Sales because they said my suit looked like a used car salesman. So that was a rough one. That was a tough pill to swallow. But that's my first grinds my gears. I'll let somebody else go next.
You got it, Matt.
Yeah. One comment about those. Like, who has that big of a crotch? Like, why do you need all that room? It just makes no sense.
I don't know. You've seen some people at the store that have like the big front fupas, you know, maybe they got to put those things in there. So they must have checked fupa for me instead of slim fit. So that's tough.
Yeah, you gotta wear skinny jeans in there next time.
Yeah, maybe. At least it's kind of a compliment.
Right.
They thought I was packing. When they went for the stretch across the waist, they must have felt something and thought that I needed the size. So, all right, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I got a quick one. Like fast food restaurants, like Qdoba, Chipotle, Subway, even now, when they ask for a tip when you pay for a credit card, are you kidding me? And then you gotta look like a jerk because you're not tipping a cash register lady. Like, why are you asking for a tip at a fast food restaurant and you're already like raising your prices and stuff? So like, I don't have a lot of emotions, but I do kind of feel bad a lot sometimes. So like, I usually like tip very well. I worked at Applebee's while in college to help pay for it, and it just sucked. And I think I was a pretty good waiter, and so I always tip pretty well. So like, it just pisses me off when like they're staring at me. Like, I even put the credit card in these days. Like, you're doing nothing besides clicking one button, and then you're asking for a tip, and it's already like raised prices. So I don't mind tipping at when you're actually serving me, but fast food restaurants, Subway, don't ask for a tip.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I cannot stand when they got I know that it's going to be a bad experience for me when they got the iPad because they're just, I put my card in, they're going to flip the damn thing towards me and it's going to say, how much would you like to tip 10, 20, or 30%? And I'm like, well, where's 0 as an option? Because this is BS, dude. Like, all I did was pick up a pizza and now next thing you're going to know I have to tip. Like, it's already overpriced, like you said. The food prices are skyrocketing, inflation. And next thing you know, I got a tip. Come on. I went golfing today. Every single item I purchased, they asked for a tip. I was like, dude, this is unreal. I booked online. I'm not going to tip. I buy a water. I'm not going to tip. You grabbed it out of the fridge. Like, I'm sorry. I also appreciate, tipping people when you're sitting down and getting served because those people don't make much. Their hourly rate is not good. They're out there working for something. They're working. I'm proud of that. They're serving me. I'm perfectly fine being a good tipper there. But when you're at a fast food place, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'd even maybe take it a step further. I don't like, or I'm a good tipper, but I wish that restaurants would just build that in their prices and like not tip. You know how like other parts of the world don't really tip, like because it's also unfair because like kitchen staff doesn't get tips sometimes, but like they're not making that much more like hourly or whatever. So I just think the whole like tipping situation is frustrating and needs to be rethought out as a society. So that's my challenge to our audience. If you own a restaurant, change it.
That's an interesting take. I do like when you're with like a big group of people and then the bill says like there's been 20% tip already added, so that you don't have to even worry about it. Like I like that. That's kind of a better restaurant experience. Like there's not that awkward interaction. There's not especially like the little kiosks now that they have like at the end of each table. I think Applebee's might have had those, Matt, when you were there, but like where they're just like, oh, here's your kiosk that you got to put your card through. And then they're like standing there as like you're putting in the tip. Like that's awkward. I'm not a fan of that either. Craig, I want you to do yours, but I have to do this one first because it fits perfectly. I would say bad tippers also grinds my gears. You guys ever been out with like a group of people and like people are just like scumbag tippers? Dude, there's nothing worse. Like you just feel so embarrassed, like for the people you're with, and like it's such an uncomfortable feeling. Like, just like gives me the heebie-jeebies just seeing someone like either someone your age, like when you're in high school or college, and they're just like, oh, I'm not gonna tip, or I'm not even gonna leave any tip, and you're just like, well, now I gotta like overcompensate and tip even more to make up for my scumbag friends. Or even worse, when you're with like an adult, like a grown adult that tips like a scumbag, and you're like, dude, because I'll be honest, I don't even tip off like performance. I have a baseline 20% tip for everybody, even if they're the worst waiter I've ever had, and then I'll tip more if they're really good. But
Yeah.
like people that are like, they only filled my water once, 5% tip. It's like, dude, come on. Like they're super busy. You don't know what they got going on in their day. Like they look stressed. They're sweating. They're running around. Like you're being rude to them anyways in the start, and then you're gonna tip them scummy. Like it just grinds my gears so much, dude.
Yeah, that's well said.
All right,
It's
thanks. Okay, go ahead. That was a good rant. Go ahead.
no, I mean, I don't have any grinds in my gears. I've had a good month and a half, but I do agree with you all on the tipping stuff. Like, I do think at one point I jotted in my notes the subway thing because that I'm like, well, this seems weird. Um, but like I said, I'd rather than like places just raise their prices and not do tipping. Like I'd rather that just be a thing. But
Yeah,
well,
but to Matt's point, and to counter argue your point, fast food places should not raise their prices and then account for a tip. You should not be
no,
tipped
that's
at
fine.
any.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean
I'm even
that's
saying like though, like yeah, if you go out to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of
Red
like,
Robin.
yeah, sure, Red Robin. Like, I'd rather them just raise their prices 20% and they say like, don't worry about tipping. We're like paying our employees better.
If they say that,
Yeah.
because
No, yeah, exactly. That's my ideal state. I'd want that.
they could be double dipping.
Yeah, that's fair.
Matt, do you have any more grinds of my gears? Craig is obviously just a happy-go-lucky guy that can't complain about anything.
Uh, well, let's just see, just everything about flying, pretty much. I love the whole idea of getting somewhere faster, but I just hate it. I hate everybody that works in an airport is the biggest jerkbag ever. It's like they act like like you fly every day, like you're like a business. But I've the last time I flew was whenever. Like they're like yelling at you and all this stuff. In Mexico airport, you had to wear a mask for the show, but they're just screaming at you, acting like you know what to put in, what you can have in it. It's like, geez, have some patience with me. And then also, I just have like anxiety. Like I have like all these drugs I've never even seen in my life. Like someone planted them in my backpack or suitcase or something. So I have like all this anxiety going through the airport. Like I'm gonna get searched and they're gonna find a bunch of heroin in my bag, and I'm gonna get tackled by dogs and like just these unrealistic like fears. And then once I'm on the plane, it's fine. But I just hate security in the airport. I'd rather just drive.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I know Craig is a big airport guy. He's a big fan of flying, a big advocate of flying, but I hate flying, dude. I hate the logistics of getting to the airport, going through security and having the TSA people scream at you. You know, like you said, you like get anxious about stuff you shouldn't be anxious about. You're like, you could have a completely empty backpack when you went to the airport. Next thing you know, you could just have bricks of cocaine in there that they're gonna all of a sudden find and be like, "Sir, what is this? You care to explain this?" And I'm like, I thought all I had was a Dyson like toothbrush and some toothpaste in there. And next thing you know, I'm getting tased. You know, I'm not a big fan. And then you get into the airport, you get past security if you're lucky enough, and then you want to get some food, you're hungry. Yeah, good luck. You better take out a loan at the local bank because that food is going to be crazy expensive. They're probably going to flip the tablet and ask you for a tip there too. You want some entertainment? You want to go get a magazine? That's going to be $48 for a magazine. I don't know. I'm a big anti-airports guy. I'm not anti-flying, but I'm anti-airports.
Come prepared. Bring food. Bring a magazine. Download a podcast.
Yeah, but you're a big flying guy. Like Matt and I, we don't fly. So when we do fly, we're either unprepared. The rules and laws have changed over the 10 years since the last time we flew. And it's just like we're getting in, we're trying to figure out what gate to go to. We don't have all the intricacies. Like you're walking around with your rolling suitcase, your zippy bag of Cheez-Its, your empty water bottle that you knew to plan ahead on, and your little neck roll. And meanwhile, we're sweating it out in the security line.
getting drugs planted on you.
Yeah, getting drugs planted on us. They prey on the guys that look that they don't know what they're doing.
I will agree with you though. They do act like everyone is flown a million times, and that's definitely not fair. Not the case. Like people, people make mistakes at airports too. Like so, like sometimes I hate when someone has like their water bottle filled up, and then they get super mad about it. It's like they probably just like they forgot to dump it. Like that happens.
And they're like, "Sir, what do you think you're doing with that full water bottle?" Like, come on, man, just give me a break. Just tell me to go dump it out or ask nicely. Like, Jesus. They're always like ripping the ID and passport or whatever out of your hand, like they're like the police pulling you over. You're like, dude, give me a break.
I definitely do like airports more than you, although I think it's a fun escape from the real world.
Yeah, because it's hell, dude. It's escape from the real world because it's hell. I have a grinds my gears that has developed ever since my new job. So a positive note is that I do have parking at my new job. For the listeners that have listened for the duration of these 17 episodes, you know that my parking situation in Iowa City was miserable. But here in Omaha, I do have a parking garage that I park in. But it has developed a new grinds my gears of people that back in to parking spots. Specifically in this grinds my gears in parking garages, but it could be anywhere. Because, dude, when I'm flying in this parking garage in the morning, running 10 minutes late already, and these scumbag truck drivers or people in cars are taking the time to stop, turn to the side, back in, go forward, and readjust, that's an extra 30 seconds that I'm going to be late. So you have to tack it on to my already lateness. So it just drives me crazy, dude, that these people find a need to back in. They act like we're at like game 7 of the World Series, that they're not going to be able to get out if they have to back up at the end of their work shift. Dude, just go forward into the spot and let other people drive past you. It's crazy.
Well said.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts, either of you? Like, are you big back into spot guys, or what's the deal? Like, why nobody just resonates with that?
I don't get backing in, but people say it's safer. I don't know what the data shows. I'm kind of with you though, but I don't get this mad about it. But
there's no data on that being safer, dude.
Yeah, they for sure can track how many accidents there have been and if they're backing in or going in the normal way. But we'll have to look at that and research. I'll have an answer next show. But I'd be frustrated too. I get that one.
Man, anything else for you that you just want to get off your chest?
No, I have been a backupper ever since I've had a backup camera on my car, though. Actually, not always, but like at the high school and stuff. Like whenever there's traffic getting out, because that like whenever you're in a packed parking lot, it's not the easiest to back out and go. It's way easier to just go out. So ever since the backup camera, and if it's like a packed parking lot, I'll back up. But it doesn't take me like 30 seconds. I don't know what you're talking about. And I mean, I won't do it if it's packed. Like usually it's wide open. But kind of quick one relates to cars. It's kind of happened the other day. Well, first of all, grinds my gears when anyone has a bumper sticker on there, just because, whatever. Agree, disagree. Like it just pisses me off when I like don't whatever. Bumper sticker, I hate you. And then the other day, and then I also hate. Okay, this guy had a bumper sticker, but then I hate when I don't know if this happened to you guys, but like later on, you think about a situation and you're like, wait, that just happened? I should have done this type of thing. Or like you like realize something like later and you're like, did that just happen? And like you should have reacted differently and stuff.
So regret is on your grinds my gears of this week. That's just regret.
Not at all regret, but like when you don't like realize what happened until
how
like
weird
an
something
hour
was.
later.
Yeah.
And like you like I should have said something. I should have done this. I should have done that. Whatever. But the other day, this guy with a bumper sticker, his asshole just whipped right out in front of me. I don't even really know what happened. But then we're at a light. He's right in front of me, and he throws his hazards on. And I was like confused for like a little bit. And then I like thought about it, and I was like, he was already gone. And I thought about it, and I was like, he threw his hazards on to like send me a message about something I did while like basically like flipping me off. But I didn't like realize that too. It was gone. Otherwise, I would have like drove next to him and had a conversation. That was like a mini like, oh, I should have done this if I realized. See, I was being a jerk bag type of thing. But like, Bumper
Did he give
stickers
you
I
the bird?
hate when they turn in front of you and drive the speed limit. No, he didn't give me the bird. He gave me the hazards, which I didn't speak that language until 5 minutes later, and
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah,
say anything back,
throwing up the hazards is a soft move because nobody really understands what you're saying. So like sometimes that means like you're in trouble, but like throwing up the hazards, like, dude, just at least get some hair in your chest and flip me off, like. And most people that do have bumper stickers do drive like assholes. I will say, like, there's got to be studies on that, Craig. And I would say that the numbers support that those people drive like scumbags.
I can verify that for next show too.
Thank you.
Who wants to put a bumper sticker on your car? Like,
you want the whole world to know the things you believe in and things you support. The things that piss me off is the baby on board, like you think I'm gonna try to
I won't hit you.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna try to slam into your car in the first place, and then the next thing you know, you say there's a baby, and I'm like, all right, I guess I won't slam into this guy's bumper this time. Like, no, dude, I'm not trying to slam into anybody. So the fact that you have a baby on board, like, I just want to drive past him and say, congratulations, man, congratulations. Nobody cares about your baby on board. Okay. I'm just saying, Craig, no one's trying to get into an accident.
No,
And if you're about to get into an accident, you're not looking at the baby on board sticker and swerving out of the way. You're going to swerve out of the way no matter what. Like, nobody even knows how to read that fast. So just rip off your baby on board sticker, go get the Goo Gone at the store, and peel that stuff off.
This might be my new favorite grinds my gears.
And you know what's even worse is people that have the stickers of like the little stick figures of who's in their family. Oh my God, dude. No one needs to know that you're married and have 3 kids and a dog. Take those stupid stickers off.
When you have kids, David, I can't wait to give you that as a present.
Oh my God, I'm not putting them on. Unbelievable, those stickers. I don't know who came up with those stupid things and how they sell, but I'm sure that person's a millionaire.
Oh, I love it.
You could put like a I stand with the blue bumper sticker on your car when you get pulled over. When I lived in West Dallas, there were a bunch of those like I stand with the police like signs, and I was like, yeah, if I was like selling drugs or like running like a warehouse, whatever, pimps, I'd have I stand with the blue. I stand with the police right in my front yard. Keep them away.
Yeah, that's when people did the blue tape across the back window. That was like the get out of jail free card. They thought, like you could just, yeah, you could just drive like 150 and be like, officer, did you see the blue piece of tape? Give me a break. I stand with you, sir. I stand with you. Like he's gonna dap you up and be like, my bad, bro. I didn't see that. And you got a baby on board. I'll let you go this time. Unbelievable. All right. Obviously, I have plenty of grinds my gears, but I think this was a long enough grinds my gears segment. Matt, thanks for participating. Let's roll into a little would you rather's. I think that's a good segment. I like posting them on my story, and people like to chime in which one they agree with. I will say, on the last time I posted them, most people agreed with you, Craig, which means that most people are wrong. Which I'm okay with.
Overwhelming me, like it surprised me.
I'm okay being in a minority, knowing that I'm right. That's okay with me. So I don't remember if I asked this on any, so tell me if I did, but Matt, I want you to go first. Would you rather have a beach house or a lake house?
You're just asking ocean or lake?
Basically, yeah. It's a tough one. He's really thinking about it, folks.
Yeah, this is not easy.
I mean, I would say probably, we're just talking in general, I'd go lake. I feel like beach houses are more, you're on like a beach that people can access a little more and like tend to. Like, I'm just thinking like walking the beach in Florida and stuff, all those $1 million houses and stuff, but like people are on the beach right outside your house. Like, yeah, they can't be in your backyard, but I feel like a lake house is a lot more secluded most of the time. Like, obviously, I think we're just thinking in general, but it'd be pretty sweet to be on the ocean too. And you're kind of asking like gold or silver here, D-Wood. I don't know. I'll go lake.
All right, Craig.
I think I'd go lake too, but pretty different reasons. Like I don't think I want to live on the east or the west coast is more my reason. So like, I like the Midwest. So there's not any oceans in the Midwest. So I think that makes me have to go to a lake house. But I do love beaches. and my top option would be like, throwing in some sand and making like an actual beach on a lake, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but there's really no such thing as like a great beach on a lake. It's usually like muddy sand, like nastiness in your feet. But
The
you guys both took.
beaches are nice in Chicago. Some good beaches.
Yeah, you
Bradford
get
Beach in Milwaukee.
Bradford Beach, man. That's not a really great place to hang out. It's not necessarily on National Geographic's top 100 beaches. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, you guys took this in a different direction than I thought you would, Matt. I think that's a good thought, like the seclusion aspect. I didn't really think of it that way. I guess I was thinking more like, yeah, okay, that's a good thought. I think if you're going for more like a secluded feel, people really aren't going to walk into your backyard at a lake house, but they will every day at a beach house. So that's a good thought, Craig. I didn't really think about like the geographic place that you'd be living, so that's an interesting thought too. Um, yeah, I would have to go lake house mostly because I like swimming in a lake more than I like swimming in the ocean. Um,
That's true.
the beach at the beach is obviously nice. I like the feel of nice soft sand on your toes. But once you get in the actual water, like it sucks to have like the sting of salt water in your nose and your ears and your eyes, and your mouth when you accidentally taste it. Like I love the feeling of like a lake, even though it's not clean, it feels clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I also am terrified of sharks. So not having to worry about sharks in a lake. I know there are sharks in lakes now, if you see it on River Monsters, but you usually don't have to worry about it when you're at like a lake. So I'd say that aspect makes me feel more comfortable definitely being in a lake.
Good question.
Thank you. John Opine, shout out John Opine. He's a listener, but his father, Michael Opine, who's also my buddy now, he listens too. And he wanted to do this quick would you rather. Basically, we all know what the answer is, but he had to drive a mattress on the top of his vehicle 5 hours up to Michigan to his daughter's new place. And basically, he was saying, would you rather drive a mattress tied to the top of your car and have to stop every hour to make sure that it, tighten it back up? Or would you just pay for the shipping to get the mattress delivered up there?
I would pay. I would much rather pay.
Yeah, he would too. He would too. Matt, thoughts? Are you going the cheap route? Or are you going to pay for the delivery?
Well, I have a Nissan Altima, and it breaks down randomly all the time. Right now, it like doesn't it doesn't go from park to reverse or neutral or something like that. And sometimes I'm like sitting there for like up to like 3 to 4 minutes, which doesn't seem like a long time. But when you're trying to shift your car from park to reverse for 3 minutes, my blood gets boiling and I start punching the wheel and stuff. It's crazy. I have to like turn my car off. My car is just, I don't know. Our parents taught us to buy a cheap car, but it's like this thing cost me more than a freaking Mercedes does at this point because everything's breaking down. I bought a used 2014 Nissan Altima, but it cost me $1,000 every 6 months because something breaks. So I'm not bringing a mattress on that thing. So no, that was a dumb question. How about you guys? Would you rather look like you're the strongest person in the gym or be the strongest person in the gym? Would you rather be the guy that's throwing around the most weight, or would you rather just look like it?
Can I ask, is the guy that is the strongest, is he like skin and like, does he look like Craig, like skin and bones, like the chemistry, bone set that's hanging from the ceiling, or what are we talking? Is the guy
You're
still
gonna be a little more huskier?
okay? Like, would you rather be a chubby guy that can lift a bunch of weight or be chiseled and be weak? Basically, is that what you're asking?
Would you rather look like you're the strongest or actually be the strongest?
Craig, thoughts?
Well, I don't look like I'm the strongest, but I am pretty strong. No, I'm kidding. I would much rather actually throw the weight around, and then I don't really care. I mean, I guess I have a fiance too, so I feel like I don't really need to impress anyone, so that factors in. But I'd much rather like be able to perform.
Dude, I disagree completely. I would much rather look like the sexiest, strongest guy in the gym because I don't even go to the gym, so I don't care how much weight I can get. Nobody asks me what my max is, but if I can walk around in a swimsuit and feel comfortable, yeah, I would much rather have that any day of the week. What do you think, Matt? You're a big gym goer. What's your choice here?
I don't know. Craig has a big D Wood answer there with kind of. I have a girlfriend. D Wood's had a girlfriend his whole life. He's a very lovable guy, but he used to be pretty ripped, and then I kind of passed him up. He got a little chubby, kind of. Oh, he's got this pretty girlfriend. He doesn't have to try anymore. He eats 1,000 wings at Buffalo Wild Wings and gets fat and doesn't work out anymore. I definitely look like it. I mean, you're at the beach and no one knows how much you can lift. I mean, you just gotta look it. So that's my answer.
Fair enough. I deserve that. I really let myself go. Hence the name Peaked in College. Okay, well, I like the fact that you came with a question. Do you have any more? Or is that just one that was
a good one? I like that.
That you just wanted to get off your chest? Do you have anything else?
You
don't have to think of it on the spot. I got some other ones if you don't have any.
No, yeah, I don't have a question, but yeah, go ahead.
What, you got something you want to talk about?
No, I mean, I had a little story time planned, and I'd like to hear a little something for you too, just based on the title of this podcast, Peaked in College. I think it's good you guys continue to have new guests. Maybe you guys can get like someone who went to USC, UCLA, kind of just hear the different atmospheres. I'm going to share a story about a little cheap public college. You guys went to $50,000 a year college, little.
Oh, we lost you.
His Wi-Fi is cheap too.
Yeah. Cheap college, cheap Wi-Fi. Are you back with us?
Well, I can hear you. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You tell your story, Mr. Public School.
No. Well, I don't really know how to transition into it. I thought you had a question.
No, I don't want to do it. We did enough
story time about my college.
Yeah, this is Josh McInerney's segment called Story Times. Let's see what kind of story you have to tell.
I have plenty of stories, but first one I think is first day of getting dropped off at Whitewater. I'm pretty sure Dad found all the beer I brought or whatever. But so that just started off right off the bat as I'm getting brought into the dorms, just hearing all this poking around, all the beer I probably stole from his fridge. So that was kind of a great start, getting dropped off. Pretty sure they left right away because first thing I remember is going over to Bobby Hall's house, or his apartment back in the day. Just got dropped off, didn't even put my stuff in my apartment, but I had some high school buddies that went there. First thing I do is go over there, whatever, party, have a good time. It was great. Moving days, great, probably every college. But first night, I remember just college is wild, man. You just kind of, hey, especially freshman and sophomore year, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? 146, Walmart Avenue. You just walk into this random house and some people are sitting on the couch and just go in the basement, and it's just disgusting down there. But so first night, I remember just meeting this random person, found this address for this random house. I knew no one there, and cops come. So we're hiding in this bathroom. Cops are banging on the window, the window of the bathroom and stuff. There's probably 100 people in this tiny little house. It's my first night in college. I'm all right, I'm already going to get an underage drinking ticket. This is not good. Ended up, they just didn't open the door and they left. So it was a good night, but that was my first thing. It's all right, first night, I get it, it always happens to someone in college, but I swear, first night, cops were outside, nothing ever happened, it was all good to go, but yeah, that was my first day at Whitewater. Cops were outside the house. Thought I was going under first day, but I survived a little longer. What about your guys' first day moving day?
Yeah, Whitewater is notorious for those house parties. I feel like Drake didn't have as good of random house parties. And then every time I went to Whitewater, we would just walk to some random houses and go to parties. That was a cool aspect of Whitewater, I think. I think Drake was very cliquey with their parties. You go to a fraternity party and a majority of the house is a fraternity. You go to a sorority party, majority of the satellite house is a sorority and the fraternity. You go to a football party, it's all for football guys. But at Whitewater, like it's just a hodgepodge of people that found out about this house party and is just there for a good time. Craig, do you have any good, start of college stories?
Not really. I don't really. I mean, moving day, I thought it was stressful, but like all the football players just took everything and moved it up in like 5 minutes. It was super quick. Um, I can't really. Yeah, like I don't really remember. I remember just playing a bunch of like play like Cards Against Humanity like first night. Everyone on the floor got to meet each other. It's wild to think about that. Like, just thousands of people just come together and like don't know anyone. It's weird, but I don't have any super memorable like first week or first day stories.
Yeah, I don't have too many good first days of college stories, but I have a good last day of freshman year story. Craig was there, so he can attest to this too, and I'm going to incriminate him with me. So last day of freshman year, my dad was in town, ready to pack up my stuff and move me out. But I went out that night. I thought one last hurrah before we move home for the summer, So went out to a little bar next to the post office on Forest Avenue called West End. We were there till late, I think till bar closed, whatever that is. You would know more than I would, Craig. 2 o'clock.
I think so.
It was about 2 o'clock. Me, Craig, Nate Morehauser, and some females are leaving the bar. We're about to go walk to McDonald's down the road. And mind you, Forest Avenue is probably the second busiest road in all of Des Moines, besides University Avenue. But when you got to go, you got to go. And I had to urinate really bad. Matt, kind of ties back to your story in the Mexican van. And right then and there, I was like, hold on, guys, stop, I have to go. So I decided to go right on this big oak tree right off Forest Avenue. And next thing you know, there's a flashlight at the back of my head, and it luckily was Drake security, not Des Moines police. And he was like, "Oh, rough timing for you, son." And I was midstream, so I had to finish it off. I finished about 45 more seconds of pee while this guy shined his flashlight in the back of my head. Next thing you know, I turn around when I'm done, and my group of 6 or 7 people is now just me and Nate, an army of 2. Shout out Nate Morehauser for sticking with me during that, but everybody else bolted, including Craig. He was good as gone, left me in the dust. Talked to those security officers. They told me all the crimes that I committed in that very instance. Basically told me they could have thrown me in the slammer if they wanted, but thank God I had the blue tape across the back of my car because it let me go scot-free. And we walked down to McDonald's and met up with Craig and those ladies and had some McChickens. But and to end the story, we went back to our dorms, and for some reason, oh yeah, because my 2 roommates were not big drinkers or partiers. Neither was I, but they just didn't at all. We got back to the dorms. I didn't want to disturb them. It was like 3 a.m. So Nate and I slept in a vacant dorm room in Stallnecker Hall in a vacant dorm room on 2 dorm beds that had like no sheets or mattress or anything. It was kind of disgusting, but we had packed up all our stuff and so we decided to sleep right there.
That's hilarious. So I remember the story a little differently because I also had to go to the bathroom super bad. And I ran ahead, I think, before the public safety came up because I just had to go. So that's why I ran ahead. It's just like, oh, like I'll just wait till McDonald's. But I really had to go.
That's not how I remember it happening. Unbelievable. All right.
But now it worked out.
It worked out. Matt, wasn't as good as your story.
Remember I went to your where was that? You played at like Brown Deer. I remember I came and I had that like gash on my head. I don't remember that at all.
The basketball game?
Yeah, you played at like Brown Deer or something, like go to state or whatever.
Yes, I remember that. You did. You had the big gash on your head. Yes. What about the gash?
Yeah, that was Craig. That was from running from the cops. Me and we were all walking on. I would never fight the police, but you can run until they say anything. I never heard anything. We were just walking on like the main street, and me and my buddy Clay, great guy, throws like we're just walking. It's like whatever, 10, 11 o'clock. Dark. He just throws like his beer. He's an idiot. He throws his beer. We didn't see, but there was a cop like on the main street, does a U-turn, turns his lights. So first thing, we just book it, and I ended up running through a fence and like gashed my head. I like jumped over probably like 3 or 4 fences, and I ended up getting away because like Whitewater has like it's like mixed community and then like college houses. So there was a big like RV with like the wheels and everything, and I hid under that like I was like 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 on the show like Cops for like probably like 30 minutes, and then until the homeowner came home, and then I like came out from under it was like a fully like $150,000 RV. Like I like crawled out under it. I'm like full like dirt. My head's like bleeding. I was like, oh, can you give me a ride home? I was like, the cops are looking for me. They're like, you're fine, just walk. And then they ended up giving me a ride home. So I made it home. Clay made it home, but ran through a fence. It's the only time I ever ran from the cops, but I never heard them say stop or anything. I just saw lights and I ran. But
Yeah, that's fair.
Athletic.
Well, I'm glad you got away. That's good. I'm shocked. Shout out those people for giving you a ride home. I don't think I would, be as nice. I think if someone was like had a gash in their head and was covered in mud and said, "Hey, can you take me home? I'm running from the cops." I don't think I would have taken them home. So shout out those people in Whitewater.
Yeah, it's Whitewater.
Boy. All right. Any other good stories? I don't know if I have very good stories to tell about college. I was kind of a loser.
No, not really. That I want to say to thousands of viewers, but I think just like a big difference. I'm a walker. You're definitely a walker too. I've gotten snaps of you in Madison walking around 4 in the morning, not knowing where you're going. But my first birthday, 19 years old. I got my buddy's, whatever buddy. He was older than me. I got his like real ID. It was like his birthday on like the same day, but he was like of age and everything. Went to the bars, had a great time. Ended up walking Whitewater. You walked everywhere, like Drake, Uber, whatever, downtown, depending where you're going. Whitewater walked, so like probably like a mile and a half. It was like a big T from bars, Walmart, and a hotel, dorms. So I'm walking. I continue to walk another like mile and a half past like the dorms. End up in the hotels. That was a fun experience. But you wouldn't know, I'm a lever, a walker. That was good night, good time, good birthdays. But yeah, Whitewater. I definitely did not peak in college. Number one, I worked too much. D-Wood knows Kathy and Tom always get mad at us for working too much, but then get mad at us for not having money. Like you really can't please them. I worked like 40 hours in college, and it was stupid because this is why I didn't peak. Remember when I was fat, didn't have this beard, kind of more resembled D-Wood, a little dumber and
but, fair enough.
So all I did was like work my life away like Fridays. I remember literally working every Friday and taking guys out of the group home every Friday to dinner and stuff. So like I missed out on those. I feel like D-Wood, and I don't know, Craig, if you had like a good balance of like volunteering, working, getting involved. But like, I didn't really get involved in anything. All I did was like work 40 hours a week, take classes, and then partied too much when I had a little free time. So like that's why I didn't peak in college. Like didn't build enough relationships, didn't get involved, didn't network enough, didn't really kind of experience it. I was there, went there in high school. I'm gonna go to Whitewater just to drink. When I was there, oh man, I need drinking money, just worked. And now it's not even like I like made enough money to like do anything anyway. So like wish I would have found a balance there and had a little bit better time, but I definitely did not peak in college. I'm looking at 30, 28 right now. I think I'll peak at like 30, but like things just keep getting better and better. Hopefully I'm peaking at 30 here. Definitely did not peak in college. I would not go back to college if I could these days. Probably as a plumber or something. Saved me a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of mistakes. But definitely did not peak in college. Got in a lot of trouble. I shouldn't have.
That's okay.
I went there 5 years for no reason.
5. Yeah, well, you went for the extra year just to wrap it up and make sure that you weren't missing out on anything. So that's good. There's nothing wrong with going in for an extra year. I went for 6. Craig went for 4. You know, there's no such thing as a specific amount of time you need to go to college. And I think that even if you didn't peak in college, you still had some good experiences and some good stories that you shared with us today. And you can certainly come back anytime and tell some more stories. Because I feel like
Especially about David.
I feel like I don't have great college stories. Craig doesn't probably have great college stories. We're kind of lame. So I think, you come on and are a fresh face to tell some good stories. And I'm optimistic looking at you because if I can look like you when I'm 28 years old, maybe I'll be peaking again. So, so there's hope for me, I think.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thanks for coming on. I'm eager for more stories. Just make them about David next time when he was a kid, but or more college stories because those were great.
Yeah, I don't know if he has too many good stories to tell about me. When we were growing up, we weren't exactly the closest of friends. So I think he probably doesn't have many stories to tell because he didn't want to see me at all, didn't want to hang out with me. So I can't blame him. That's okay. I can't blame him.
Trey, do you have any siblings? Yeah, when did that change, D-Wood? When did we hated each other forever?
I don't know. I think it was probably when I went to college. Probably just when I was away from the house, away from the family. You probably did. You'll never admit it, but I bet you missed me a little bit. And then it just made us get along a little bit better when I would come home, and now we're good friends.
I think when Dad started to get pissed at you too. So I was
that was the bond.
I can be invalid Victorian, the perfect goody. Mom and Dad hated me. They still do. But once they got pissed at you for some stuff, I'm like, all right, come join my team.
Yeah.
Come over to the good side here.
Yeah, you're like, this guy's not so bad. Craig, yeah, you have a brother. Do you have any good sibling stories?
Not that I can think of. So I have an older sister and a younger brother. We're all pretty different, but kind of similar. I'll have to think about some good sibling stories because I know they exist, but I can't think of any right now.
I have a feeling that you guys all got along really well.
More so than you two, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Did you have all the matching stuff growing up? We always had the same stupid stuff.
The matching?
We had the same Pokemon pajamas and we always had the
we
same
have some
stuff.
pajamas or yeah.
That's just part of growing up, I think, with a sibling of the same sex. I think parents just like to buy the same stuff to take cute pictures and all that stuff. And I like looking back and seeing those, when we match. But then I think you were fine with that. You started getting pissed when we were growing up, like high school kids, and I started buying a lot of the same stuff that you had. Probably just because I thought it looked cool and I wanted to look like you, and so I started doing it. And that's when you were not a fan of that.
This is weird. All right. Time to wrap it up. David's getting a little emotional here, a little sensitive.
It's that time of the evening. It's Sunday night. Craig's looking tired. His eyes are looking heavy. We can wrap up this episode 17 of Peaked in College. Any final words matter, Craig, as we wrap it up here?
Oh, thanks for having me. I would love to come back down the road. I'll come back with some D-Wood stories. I'll try to remember. My memory's so bad. I don't know if it's just my mom has a terrible memory or I don't know, kid, but can't remember anything. But I'll try to think of some good D-Wood stories for all the listeners here. Yeah, thanks for having me.
This was great. It was good to hear someone's perspective who didn't peak in college, because I think you're the first person who that's been their answer. So we'll have to check in, 6 months, a year, 3 months, whatever, and see if you're still peaking.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say that they think they're going to peak at 30 until you just said that just now. So shout out, Matt, for the positivity and the good vibes on this episode of Peaked in College.
We need more good vibes on this episode, David.
Who am I right now? Think about it. 5 years ago, you looked at me and you're like, oh, that. Or when I lived in West Dallas, D-Wood, that guy's living in West for the rest of his life. He's just going to be single, walking the bars, doing whatever. Look at me now.
Yeah, so, I would say I would say you're on the upward trajectory. I would think that you have not peaked yet in your life, and you're still peaking as we speak. So I'm looking forward to maybe when you do peak, maybe on your come down, we'll have you back on and get some grinds my gears from you. Hear about the way down, because the way up is looking good, Matt. It's looking good. One last shout out to Horse. Shout out Horse for the t-shirt. Maybe we'll try to merchandise these and we'll reach out to him and get stuff sold. So thank you all for listening to Peaked in College. This is episode 17 with David Wood, Craig Nielsen, and special guest Matt Wood. So thanks for coming on, Matt. See you, fellas.
Peace out. Thanks, Matt.